Hello all, Alfred Einstein here with Specialized Pockets of Knowledge. Today's knowledge is about defaulted mortgage investment, and today I'm going to discuss the typical order of events. So if you're not familiar with the mortgage purchase scenario, this will just give you a little bit of a guide or an outline as to what you can expect with the process. So it's similar to a real estate closing, but it's got a few more moving parts in it that are a little bit different. So let's get right into it here. Request for bids is circulated. So what happens is a mortgage owner decides they want to sell it, and they'll figure out a way. They'll either put it on the internet or they'll give it to a broker, and they'll send you or put out in public for public consumption the fact that they'd like to sell this mortgage. So they're generally going to send you an email. With the email, so there doesn't have to be any confirmation, they'll just send you what they have with regard to the mortgage they want to sell. So it starts out by you receiving a spreadsheet of mortgages that a particular mortgagee wants to sell. Okay, so now you do your pre-bid due diligence, and you get all your work done to decide whether or not you want to bid on this mortgage. And if you do, you submit an indicative bid. Generally, you have between 5 and 10 days from the day you receive the offering to submit your indicative bid. Time frames are all independent of each other. The sellers decide, or the broker decides. You have no say in it. So if your pre-bid due diligence and your indicative bid comes up to a number where the seller is interested, they'll most likely give you more time to do post-bid due diligence. Now, in most cases, there'll be 2 or 3 mortgage note buyers all vying for the same mortgage. So you're going to do your post-bid due diligence, and you're going to try to get down to a real number. You're going to get more information to look at and more things to measure, but you're going to get extra time. And when you get that extra time, you're not going to review what you already had reviewed for your pre-bid. You're going to review other forms of information. You'll see the collateral file, which is all the notes, the mortgage notes, the collector notes, and the original loan information. You'll get a lot of information from the collector's notes. So I have individual videos for each one of these steps. But you'll receive a lot of information to digest, and you'll probably receive between 10 and 20 extra days to do this. Next thing you do is you prepare for your potential fade arguments. So what that means is that you're always on the lookout for things that don't match up. For example, let's say you look up the mortgage that was originated back in X number of year, and you see that the owner's name or the mortgagor's name at the time was Smith. But you look it up in the property appraiser, and Smith no longer owns the house. Now, you'll dig in further, and most likely you'll find nothing nefarious took place, but the fact that the current owner of record in the public records for the county and the name of the original mortgagor don't match. So generally I keep it under my hat because I'm going to use it later when I try to get the price down when the fade arguments come into play. But I have a full video on fade arguments, so let's not dwell here. We're just talking about our processes. So the final bids it's time to submit those. Now, this is very similar to when you buy real estate, that you allow your buyer or seller allows you to have an inspection period. So you come up with a price, $100,000, and then you do your inspections, and after your inspection period has ended is when the negotiations really begin. Same with mortgages. When you put an indicative bid, I'm indicating that I think I'm interested and I might be interested at this price. But then you do your additional due diligence that you're awarded, and now it's like your inspection period. Now it's not as valuable. Now you have to come down off your number. Now you have to fade just a little bit to make this thing go together. Hopefully you win. You're not going to win every one. Matter of fact, you'll probably win 1 in 10, 15. That's what I'm winning. And the fact is, I'm a little tighter than most people and a little more particular. And if I had more money just to piss away, I'd win more, but I don't. So I'm not going to do that. Final bid submitted, and yay. Purchase agreement and closing. By the way, this is the first time any money changes hands. We're halfway through our steps, and you haven't even put up a deposit yet. But if you go all the way this far, and then for some reason you don't close, if it's a good reason, that's different. But if it's a ticky-tacky reason, don't expect to receive any more offerings from this broker. Because the people that send out these mortgages for sale, these guys know what they're doing. And they have heard every excuse, and they can pick up the whiff of a fibber 2 miles away. So if you don't close after you promised, everything's together, you're not going to be able to get as many loans offered to you as you would otherwise. So you close. Then, depending upon the lender and where the documents are or who the servicer is, you receive the physical file and you're going to put an inventory and you're going to board your loans with your servicer. I do a whole video on this one slide. Sometimes it takes 30, sometimes it takes 45 days. In this business, you have to be patient because everything takes time. Okay, either with the original delivery or separate and apart from them, you're going to receive the original note and or the certified copy of the original note. I do a video on this because not having the original note is not a death blow any longer, at least in Florida, but it's reason for concern because you're going to have to pay your attorney more money, so you always fade the fact that you don't receive the original note. That's a whole other video. This is just steps that we're going to be taking. Okay, so now you have everything in hand and you're ready to start moving on this loan and disposition administration. So what this means is now you have to see where this loan fits into your model and what you're going to do. If you're going to foreclose, you got to get your attorney to send out a notice of default, at least in Florida, because you can't move until that default notice has been sent and you have to wait 30 days. You can't start foreclosing right away. You have to be patient. If you're going to try to get this loan re-performing, now's the time you're going to reach out to your borrower, either you or your special servicer. You're going to reach out to your borrower and see what you can't make happen. I personally like to fly to wherever this loan is. I'll knock on the door. My company has a mortgage license that allows me to do that, and I can at least start a conversation. Again, a whole other video on this particular slide. Now, the reason I'm telling you this in advance is because you got to set some of these stuff up before you start buying loans. You have to know who your service is going to be. You have to know what your loss mitigation model is going to consist of. And there's a lot of moving parts in that. And I think I have a very long video on that one. This comes along with the models that you're going to have to generate, your litigation strategies and policy implementation. Are you going to allow short sales? Are you going to allow a short payoff? What happens if they file bankruptcy? So these are things that you have to determine in advance so you don't have to try and make the decision in the middle of the battle. Like I said, I spend a lot of time on how to put together your models because it's really the backbone of your business. REO marketing and devices. God forbid you end up with a real estate owned with any real estate and you have to sell it, but you have to know how you're going to get rid of it. Nobody wants to get them, but you have to know how you're going to get rid of it. Are you going to keep it yourself? Are you going to rehab it yourself? Are you going to sell it skinny? You're going to try to get it to a wholesaler. Which one of those ideas suits you the best or suits your models the best? You're going to have to know. Vendor management. That's right. Gumby and Pokey. That's what I look at, these vendors. Vendors are guys like the yard guy, the pool guy, the roof guy. There are really more guys that are going to come around all the time, like the roof guy and the lawn guy. But are you going to get it painted? Are you going to get it? How are you going to get it maintained? How's it going to be secured? These are guys that you have to know what you're going to do before you get there. Let's say you win and you get an REO. How are you going to secure it? You live in Florida, the property's in Texas. You're just now going to call somebody? It's better to have it all set up in advance so you don't end up chasing your tail. Last but not least, attorneys, loan servicers, and REO agents. You have to know who they're going to be. You're going to have to pick them. You're going to have to vet them. You don't want to be on the eve of a foreclosure. You need to send out a default notice so you can at least get moving on your foreclosure, and you don't know who your attorney is. That's terrible business planning. So because I made most of the mistakes I'm talking about, I'm going to give you advance notice. We're going to get you ready to prevail when you start buying your mortgage notes. So in any event, I think that's the end of this video. And it is. Bye-bye. Look at those peaches. Are those beautiful? Anyways, this is Alfred Einstein. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a thumbs up and a like, or subscribe to the video, please. I would appreciate it very much. And I hope you're picking up a little bit about my personality and this business. And you can make a lot of money here. And I just hope to guide you to your success. Anyways, until next time, thank you very much. See you next time.